inductee is going to be presented by the following personnel. We have Mr. Ernie Reyes Jr., Mr. Ismael Robles, and Mr. George Chong. Come up to and Mr. Troy Dawson.
All right.
All right. How many world champions do you want?
These are all world championships presented by, and I'm going to let Mr. Tom McKay introduce him as the inductee of the evening.
Tonight, it's a fantastic time for you folks now, because I'm not going to say nothing. Ernie Reyes going round 5 to bring Mr. Hillary Sandoval up here.
Thank you, Mr. Ishmael. All of me. Round 6.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today. I've been coming to El Paso for many years. El Paso was like a second home to me. I actually lived here a couple of years. I came here as a fighter, as a trainer, as an announcer. You name it, I did. I was helping people do things, setting up, and everything. Over 35 years ago, when I first met Hillary, I had a great friend that's no longer with us named Demetrius the Greek Avanis. He told me a story. He said, I've got a couple of guys that are calling me. They want me to headline kickboxing in El Paso, Texas. I said, well, give me a call. I want to see what happens, you know. He said he came into El Paso, flew in. These guys had contacted him, got off the plane, starts walking towards the middle of the airport, and a couple of kids come up to him and say, Mr. Havanis, we're the ones that flew you down here. He said, Ishmael, this little bitty kid about 12 years old and this other kid behind him about 17. I started looking around to see where I could buy a ticket to go back home. But he stayed for a while. He couldn't get a ticket immediately back, and these guys started talking to him. They actually turned out that they were pretty legitimate. They knew what they were talking about. Very young, but very talented. He headlined the fights here. He brought me over. A lot of other fighters came over. We got an opportunity to fight with some of the local fighters here in town. And it was a great opportunity for us and for the city of El Paso to showcase the sport, the new sport of full contact karate. Knowing the two brothers the way that I did, I became almost like a part of their family. I stayed at their home. I got their mothers like my mother now. And it's been bittersweet for me, the relationship I've had with Hillary Sandoval. Tony was the charismatic young talker, and I would sit there, here I am negotiating with a 14-year-old as far as how much money I'm going to be paid. And I've been in a lot of high-level negotiations. He was pretty tough. He was hard to deal with. But later, when Hillary took over everything by himself, he was the organizer. He was the marketing genius. He did everything to put everything together. And El Paso should be happy and proud to have someone that's put over 40 professional fights, 21 World Championship kickboxing matches on in the city of El Paso. He's done a lot. So I'm happy to be here for that.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, sir, I met Hillary in the early 80s, and then in 83, I had a managerial problem, and Hillary and Ishmael actually became my manager. But Hillary was a promoter, of course, at that time, and I'm still promoting events, but he promoted a world title fight for me. The first time I fought for the world title, I fought for it August 8th, 1986. This is for the kickboxing world title. And then Hillary was there in Denver, and he saw the fight. He was there supporting me, and he brought the fight here to El Paso. So had it not been for Hillary, I may have not been able to get that ISK title. So August 8th, 1 year later exactly, I fought Felipe Garcia for the world title and was able to win that world title. But so often you deal with people that will tell you one thing and then they'll do another thing. Or they'll promise this, or they'll promise that, but their promises are they're just talk. But Hillary, he walked the talk and talked the talk, and maybe it's walk the talk, maybe that's the way it's said. That's not supposed to be funny because I messed up, but what I'm trying to say is Hillary walked the talk and he talked the walk. And there are not many people that do that. In other words, if he tells you if he tells you he's gonna do something, he's gonna do something. And he brought a championship, many championships here, I guess, what was it, 23 championships here, and several championships. The first of my championship fight was brought to El Paso because of Hillary Sandoval. So I'm so thankful for him, and so honored that he would bring me down here to be a part of this event. He deserves it, and maybe this is a bit long overdue, but I'm just so happy to be a part of what Hillary was doing here in El Paso, or what he is doing in El Paso. I'm so thankful that he's in my life. In the Bible it says, all things happen for a reason, for those that are called according to his purpose. And I know I'm called, and I know Hillary brought me here, and God brought me here to win that world title back in 1987. And I don't want to keep bringing up history, but that was a long time ago. But had it not been for Hillary Sandoval, who knows what would have happened to me. I might have just kind of slipped through people's fingers and not been able to get a championship fight. I don't know. But what I do know is he set it up for me. He provided a great venue here in El Paso for me to fight. I was able to win the title and then travel throughout the country defending that title because of Hillary Sandoval. So thank you so much, Hillary, for all of your hard work. So the fighter, the person who's performing, he gets the spotlight. So the guy behind the scenes was Hillary Sandoval. So he deserves a lot of credit. And I don't even know that I ever mentioned him on television when I fought on television. But that's my fault. That wasn't his fault. So I'm just so grateful for Hillary, all that he's done, and all that he helped provide me and my family and my life. So thank you so much once again, Hillary. God bless you. Now I'd like to turn it over to the infamous, serious George Chung.
감사합니다. 안녕하세요. 이름 조지 장입니다. This guy's like, oh my God, it's gonna be a long night. He's talking in total Korean right now. Not gonna happen, folks. I didn't speak Spanish until I came to El Paso, Texas. Hillary brought me in once for testing, and we went across the border, and nobody spoke English. Hillary was always someone that promoted and could promote from a world championship fight all the way to a karate school to a black belt testing. I've known this man for, oh gosh, 35 years. And it's funny because flying over this morning, I left this morning at 4 a.m. from my home in California, and I'm on a plane, I'm sitting next to two nuns. This is not a joke. And he said, what are you doing? Why are you going to El Paso? And I said, the first thing that comes to your mind, I said, I'm going out to honor a friend. A friend. That's what I said, and that's really why I came tonight. When I met Hillary with his brother a long time ago at a karate event, and what a lot of people don't realize is what impact they had on the city of El Paso. Troy is so true when he says, oftentimes you see the fighter in front, you don't see the promoter in the back. I'm a television executive today. I left martial arts many, many years ago. And one of the challenges as a television producer is to figure out where you're going to stage events. And oftentimes people think of, you're going to go to Hollywood, you're going to go to Miami, you're going to go to Rio. El Paso didn't always come up first on the list. This man brought in television networks like ESPN, NBC, CBS, and if you can imagine the magnitude of millions of people, all of their eyes on El Paso for 2 hours watching amazing fights. That's what this man did. You know, when you watch the Academy Awards, they do Best Actor, Supporting Actor, Writer, but do you know what they keep the last award for? The Best Picture. And do you know who gets the award for the Best Picture? It's the executive producer, the guy that puts it together. If you think about the fight world, the guy that puts it together, the last award of the night, the Academy Award, the executive producer, that man's the promoter who can actually say, put professional karate on the map. I'm so proud that he is my friend. I'm so honored to be here tonight. And in martial arts, Hillary, I've been retired for about 14 years out of martial arts. I don't do this in my daily routine anymore, but this is what I do.
Thank you so much.
Hillary Samuel.
Boy, that's a hard act to follow. I just want to say what an honor, how humbled I am to be here, how grateful I am to be here. I want to thank Tom McKay. Tom McKay's amazing. He's not a healthy man, but he puts 15-year-old boys to shame. He's got more energy than anybody I've ever seen. Please give him a big hand. I'd like to thank all the Hall of Fame members. This is a tremendous honor for me. Having this award has brought back a lot of memories for me. I wanted to be a promoter when I was 16 years old. I went to Dallas, Texas to a karate tournament, saw two great fighters. One, the late, great Demetrius Savanas. Please give it up for Demetrius Savanas. He was something special. The other fighter that made me want to become a promoter is my good friend, Ishmael Robles. Now, when I became a promoter, I did it right out of high school, 18 years old. My business partner was 12 years old, believe it or not. And he was the face to our promotions. As you all can see, I'm a very introverted person. Don't like to get up and talk in front of people. Tony never met a microphone he didn't like. Never met a camera he liked. I haven't found a camera that likes me yet. But I'm here. But Ishmael gave us instant credibility by taking part in our cards, and I'll be forever grateful to him. Ernie brought a touch of Hollywood. I've always been fascinated with Hollywood. Ernie was the biggest childhood star at the time, so we would bring him to our events to punch it up and add some Hollywood class. And please, everybody, give Ernie Reyes a big hand. And of course, Troy Dorsey, the only man to become a world champion in both boxing and professional kickboxing. What a great fighter. And the great thing about all these people, they're not just fantastic martial artists, they're fantastic human beings. And I'm proud to call them my friends. George Chung, one of the things when I was a promoter, I just didn't want to show the fighting aspects. I wanted to show the beauty of the martial arts. If anybody had the pleasure of seeing George Chung, in my eyes, he was the most fantastic performer I've ever seen. He used charisma. He had standing ovations every time we went. And I'm also very, very proud to call him a friend. So for me, all this is about friendships. Couldn't be a promoter without help. Some of the other people I want to recognize, being a promoter, you cannot do it without sponsorship. One of the great sponsors, and he is far more than a sponsor for me. He's a mentor for me, and most importantly, I'm proud to call him a friend. That's Mike Verlander. Please give him a hand. Also, I'd like to recognize one of my good buddies. He was also a sponsor for me, always there to help, lend a helping hand. He was one of Cliff Thomas's main sparring partners, and for my money, probably the toughest podiatrist in the United States. Everybody is Dr. De La Rosa. Please give him a hand. And as I'm looking at him, I see his lovely girlfriend, Elena. And I have to tell you a quick story about Elena. When Buff told her that I was getting inducted in the Hall of Fame, her reaction wasn't, congratulations. It wasn't, wow, Hillary, that's quite an honor. Her reaction was, why? So Buff explained to her that I used to be a promoter, and then I told her, I said, well, then I promoted my first fight right out of high school. And she goes, wow, Hillary, I'm surprised. And I said, you're surprised that I promoted my first fight out of high school? She said, no, I'm surprised you went to high school. But it's really a pleasure and honor. For me, promoting was a family affair. My sisters always helped out with flyers, ticket sales, everything. My brother George, picking up the fighters, taking them to the hotel. And of course, Ishmael mentioned my brother Tony, 12 years old. Excuse me. 12 years old, my business partner. Without him, none of the title fights would have happened. And, excuse me. But they say nobody dies if you remember him. He lives on in my memory. The memory of my father, of the memory of my family, and the memory of all the lives he touched. And the last person I want to recognize is we've all seen great championship fights. Champion gets knocked down, sometimes more than once, more than twice, and he finds a way to get back up. He ignores his legs, crying out in pain. He ignores his tired body, and he finds a way to win. It takes a special kind of person to get up from those knockdowns. A boxing match, it can be a lot like life, except the knockdowns in life are more painful. Knockdowns in life can be the loss of a loved one, an unexpected tragedy, or a serious illness. This next person to me is the toughest fighter I know. I've seen her suffer knockdown after knockdown, tragedy after tragedy, and she always gets up. She always keeps fighting. Please give a big round of applause to my mother, the greatest fighter of all. Just one last comment. When I see MMA and it's so big now, that's what Tony and ours dream was, is where kickboxing is going to be the next big sport. Where he and I are going to get rich from it. And I look at it now and I see the millions they're making and I say, wow, we missed the boat. But you know what? I think the richness of a man's life is by the quality of his friends. And I'm a rich man. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. We didn't make the millions in kickboxing, and neither did Troy, neither did Ishmael, neither did Thomas, or even back in the back, our good friend Mr. Soto. But Hillary helped build the boat that led to the millions. He made it float.
You know what? I forgot to mention one person. Well, a couple more people, just real quick. He's right over there. He is the nicest man you'll ever meet outside the ring. Rated number 2 in the world. And not only was he a great friend, when I was going through all these challenges, Helen and Joe Punch said, oh God, it's Hillary talk, call it again. And they would listen to me. They were kind of like mini therapists for me when I talked about the challenges I have. But pound for pound, there's not a tougher guy and not a nicer guy. Joe Soto and his wife, Helen. One more person, please, is I didn't get to know him towards the end of my career, but he was the announcer for my last fight. He's always been there to support our events at the school. And to me, he's the Michael Buffer of El Paso. Robert Urrutia. Robert, stand up. Thank you, dear.
Round 7.